Today's video starts from my hotel room in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm checking out this morning, and I'm headed for another state. All the cars down there look a little frosty. I'm glad the rental car company included an ice scraper and snow brush I'll need it this morning. I just ate breakfast and checked out, and the thermometer reached just 15 degrees. It's gonna be another cold day. I scraped most of the ice off, and the heater will take care of the rest before I head out. Looks like a great day here. But I checked the weather forecast for my destination this evening. It'll be beautiful in Rapid City, but where I was planning to stay tonight, they put in a chance of snow, possibly 1 to 3 inches, and the low temp could go below 0. So I decided last night to change my plans just a little and stay about 2 hours south, where they have a chance of just flurries tonight. This time of year, I had to be a little flexible. And you can see the clouds way in the distance in the direction I'm headed, so we shall see what happens. I've been in the car for 2.5 hours, so I pulled over for a couple of minutes, and you see the clear skies where it came from. So I'll pan around very slowly, and it's broken clouds, and the wind is kicked up, and I have now arrived in North Dakota. This winter, and I'm going on a vacation in North Dakota. Talk about being legendary. I'll be in the Rough Rider state for 2 days. This is another state that's fairly large in land area, and yet the population is under 1 million. It's actually 780,000, the 4th least populated state in the US. I'm really hoping the snow holds off. It's pretty much a guarantee there will be at least flurries today, and it's going to be very cold all day. Let's do this intro and then find a bathroom.
Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone. It's 28 degrees and I have to get back in the car, so I'm going to make this intro short. I'm going to see a bunch of things in North Dakota. It's really cold. Let's go.
About 40 minutes later, the clouds had departed, which is really great news. I thought for sure the whole day was going to be cloudy. Maybe I'll get through most of what I wanted to see today. At least right now, the skies are mostly clear. It's still very cold, about 22 degrees right now, and it's also pretty windy out, but not like it was at the Welcome to North Dakota sign. My next stop is at the city of Regent, just ahead on the right. And here it is. The co-op is a tiny grocery store. There's a museum and a historical society. Regent has a population of just 167 people. In fact, there are only 80 households in the entire city. It's also at the southern end of the Enchanted Highway, which has been on my bucket list for a very, very long time. Ever since I saw a giant sculpture with birds on it, located at the other end of the highway. The Enchanted Highway is about 32 miles long and has a number of recycled metal sculptures. It ends at an interchange with Interstate 94. The first sculpture is a swirligig. It looks like the frame of a 2-story house, and there's a bedroom and a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room, plus a front door, all made from recycled metal. Best of all, it moved. But first, let's see what else is along this road. In front of the Everyday Elegance by Lindsay Haired Stylist Business is what looks like a family of bison. I guess these animals are waiting for their haircut appointment. Okay, let's see what this whirligig looks like in motion. So I'll turn this dial to turn this thing on. That's kind of cool. Alright, let's head north on the Enchanted Highway. There's a sculpture about every 3 to 5 miles or so. All these sculptures were created by Gary Gruff, who wanted to bring tourism to his hometown of Regent by creating a series of quirky sculptures to compel travelers to take a quick detour off Interstate 94. The first set of sculptures, and also the oldest ones along the Enchanted Highway, are called the Tin Family. These sculptures were created in 1991. To create the Tin Family, Gary Graff used recycled farm tanks, telephone poles, barbed wire, and augers, but look how big they are. The mom is 44 feet tall, the dad is just a little taller, at 45 feet, and the kid is 23 feet tall. I wonder how big their lollipop is. Mom is holding a big blue purse, dad is holding a very large pitchfork, and as mentioned, the boy has a red lollipop. Looking at Dad, this gives me vibes of the famous painting American Gothic with the farmer holding a pitchfork. The painting was seen in the opening credits of the show Desperate Housewives. Tin Family was meant to spotlight this area's farming heritage. These sculptures were built with much help from residents of the region. Sadly, that help was not given in later sculptures. Today, North Dakota provides the money for the upkeep of this and all the other sculptures along the Enchanted Highway. Alright, let's continue north to see the next set of sculptures. About 4 miles down the highway is another very large statue. This one is called Teddy Roosevelt Rides Again, and is mostly made with recycled pipe. The sculpture was constructed in 1993. It was the last sculpture to have the assistance of the citizens of the region. Next to the pipe sculpture is this wooden horse-drawn stagecoach. Both the stagecoach and horse, as well as the Teddy Roosevelt pipe sculpture, are tributes to Roosevelt's part in North Dakota's history. Even though the stagecoach and horses were made of wood, they are really well maintained, very well for wood sculptures that are 32 years old. You can actually go inside the stagecoach. There's nothing really fancy about it. It looks like it's made mostly with plywood nailed into 2x4 framing. It would have been nice if there was a window looking toward the horses, but I'm sure as is. This is a great fun pick opportunity for families. Also, this looks like it was painted recently. It's probably better to be made of wood because metal would get super hot in the summer. It looks nice against the backdrop of the vast grasslands of southwestern North Dakota. Speaking of Teddy Roosevelt, the national park that bears its name is about an hour northwest of here. It is beautiful. I highly recommend you visit if you're traveling in this area. This is what the Enchanted Highway looks like, just a lonely 2-lane road cutting through a wide open grassland. And every so often there's a farm. Okay, let's see what set of sculptures are next. Look how amazing the giant birds look. The set of sculptures is called Pheasants on the Prairie, and all were solely created by artist Gary Graff. These giant birds are an homage to the wild pheasants which make their home along this thoroughfare. The sculptures include a 40-foot rooster, a 35-foot tall hen, and 3 chicks that are about 15 feet tall. This rooster weighs over 14,000 pounds. How in the world did Gary Graff put these 5 birds together all by himself? All the sculptures are so large and so heavy. The sculptures look fantastic too. Look at the smallest sculptures, which are still so huge. Gary Graff put so much realistic detail into all these sculptures. By the way, the rooster is 70 feet long, accounting for his very large tail. More information on the pheasants. The sculptures took 3 years to build. The last sculpture was installed in 1997. The rooster weighs 13,000 pounds, the hen weighs 12,000, and the chicks weigh 5,000 pounds. All are made with metal mesh and piping, and this all looks amazing. Continuing my journey north on the Enchanted Highway, we're about halfway done, and we still have a few stops before we reach the end of the highway at Interstate 94. I think this is my favorite one so far. There are so many individual sculptures here, and take a look at the giant fish that's taller than all the rest. This one is called the Fisherman's Dream, and I think this is one of the newer sets of sculptures along the Enchanted Highway. It was installed in 2002, and all the fish you see here are what you'd find in North Dakota. According to my post research, the fish you see here include bass, walleye, catfish, northern pike, salmon, and bluegill. Don't ask me to identify which sculpture is which type of fish. Maybe someone that's watching the video is an ichthyophile and can leave a comment to identify each of these fish. Oh, and yeah, I found the word ichthyophile on Google to find the word that means lover of fish. The tallest one is a rainbow trout, which looks like it's jumping out of the water and trying to catch that also large mosquito. At least I think it's a mosquito. The trout is 70 feet tall. That thing is huge! Gary Griffith had quite a time putting the school of metal fish together. First, while constructing the fish, Griff stored them in a barn. However, the barn's roof had many leaks, and all the fish he made had rusted, so Griff has to make all new fish sculptures. Then, when reassembling the fish sculptures here, the welding started a grass fire. The joke that came from the fire was that he had created the world's largest fish fry. After all that, it turned out really great. There's even some water plants, and now one with two boats, a blue one on the left and a small one on the right, with a fisherman trying to catch that giant trout. I go from giant fish to this giant grasshopper. This massive and scary grasshopper is 60 feet long, and its antennae are 40 feet high. All the sculptures here were completed in 1999. There are a number of small grasshoppers at the top, as well as very large stalks of wheat. However, Gary Gruff originally made the wheat stalks very thin, so they'd bend a little in the breeze. But in this part of the country, the winds can get really strong, so some of the wheat stalks broke. Gruff had fixed some of them, but after a while he gave up. The reason he gave was that grasshoppers like to eat wheat, so he'll just say the giant grasshoppers ate some of the wheat. Hey, that reasoning sounds good to me. Gary Gruff made this playground piece, a spring bouncer where little kids can ride a grasshopper. There are other playground pieces here. Swinging back to the giant grasshopper with all the wheat stalks, this is an amazing amount of work by Gary Gruff, and only Gary Gruff. Notice there's some snow left over from a previous snowstorm a few days ago. Back to Gary Gruff. For only the first two sets of sculptures, Gruff had some help. But the other sculptures, like this one here, Gruff alone created them. Gruff mentioned this display was probably the most controversial because grasshoppers wreak havoc on the wheat crops. But this is another impressive set of sculptures. All the stops along the Enchanted Highway have been amazing. And I have no idea how one man created all these huge statues all by himself. Anyway, there's a couple more stops along the Enchanted Highway. There's about 3 miles left of the highway. And this set of sculptures is called Deer Crossing. The sculpture shows a couple of deer, and one of them is jumping over a fence. The deer have many lines tying them securely to the ground. The deer jumping over the fence reaches a height of 75 feet, and the other one that's standing is 50 feet tall. These deer are made from recycled oil well tanks, and Gary Gruff used a bulldozer to make the metal pieces flat. This entire sculpture was installed on September 9, 2002. A fun fact is the deer sculpture had to have one of the legs re-welded to the rest of the body when they arrived here. The sculptures were too large to be transported through the downtown region. Years later, the larger deer fell down, and they needed all the wires to keep it from falling again. Also at the stop is the Maze of Enchantment. This is interesting. This is a large maze with walls made of recycled sheet metal. This might be fun for children to see who can exit a maze in the fastest time. The last stop on the Enchanted Highway is just off Interstate 94. Parallel to the interstate is a long gravel road lined with small posts, and that road leads to a small parking area with this metal structure. This metal structure is called Geese in Flight, and features a flock of geese flying across the sky. This is also the world's largest scrap metal sculpture. The sculpture can be seen for miles as you head west along Interstate 94. I vaguely remember seeing this on my first trip to North Dakota. I guess close to 15 years ago. Ever since then, the Enchanted Highway has been on my bucket list. That year I was traveling out to Theodore Roosevelt National Park to the Badlands out there. The sculpture was massive, by far the largest sculpture on the Enchanted Highway. The sculpture was constructed in 2001. It's 110 feet tall and 154 feet wide. It weighs over 157,000 pounds. The largest goose on this sculpture has a wingspan of 30 feet. There's a surrounding area, and it is mostly flat and grassy. No big hills and no trees, so it's really easy to see this 110-foot tall sculpture. I'm guessing this might be the most visited sculpture because it's just off I-94. And visitors may think this is the only sculpture to see. I've now completed the entire 32-mile drive of the Enchanted Highway, but now I had to take the Gooseline gravel road down the small hill and then get on Interstate 94. It was a fun drive and it was well worth it. It's really great that all the sculptures were created from scrap metal, so instead of filling up a dump somewhere, all the metal was repurposed by artist Gary Greff and made into all those amazing creations. So here's on the gravel road which leads back to the Enchanted Highway, and then I have to get on Interstate 94 eastbound, and hope I have more good luck with the weather. It looks good right now, and hardly any traffic on Interstate 94. But you can see in the distance, there is some dark clouds. In just 45 miles of traveling east on Interstate 94, it went from mostly sunny to completely cloudy and the temperature dropped about 5 degrees. Anyway, I'm in the city of New Salem, and I'm here to see the iconic Salem Sue. She's the world's largest Holstein cow, and I saw her for miles before I reached the exit. Take a look at her. Salem Sue sits atop School Hill, which has an amazing view all over this part of North Dakota, and you might be able to see Interstate 94 way down there, which is why I could see her for miles. I can tell you without a doubt that Salem Sue is an utterly amazing roadside attraction. North Dakota has a lot of large roadside attractions, and she's the largest of them all. She's 38 feet tall, 50 feet long, and weighs nearly 12,000 pounds. She was built in 1974 at the cost of $40,000 to honor the local dairy farming industry. I didn't know this, but a nearby gas station has a free brochure describing Salem Sue's primary purpose to honor and advertise the dairymen of our area. They are hardworking, persistent, and informed assets to the community, church, the economy, and their families. The brochure also has a brief poem, which is the Ballad of the Holstein. Her presence shows that New Salem grows, with milk producers yields. We've got the cow, world's largest cow, that looks across our fields. Now and then I need a facelift, so your donations are really appreciated. There's a donation box at the road leading up to this hill, so you can assist with the upkeep of Salem Sue. This roadside attraction is massive. You have to see it for yourself. If you only have time to see 2 roadside attractions in North Dakota, you have to see this one, and the other attraction is also off I-94. The second one is a large buffalo in Jamestown, which is on the list for tomorrow. I hope to see some of the other large attractions someday. It was a little slippery getting up this hill, so I need to take it easy getting down so I don't slide off the hill. This view is really amazing from here. I still have a few places to see, and I'm still crossing my fingers that I don't run into any bad snow or ice, since my next few stops are north of here on little 2-lane roads. The Salem Sue is just a quick stop off Interstate 94, so definitely pay her a visit if you're in this area. Thankfully the roads are clear and not too much snow here, but it does seem like the clouds are getting thicker. Onward to my next stop. I traveled about 25 miles north of Salem Sue, and there's more snow on the ground now. It's not currently snowing though, and thankfully the roads have been clear. There are flags from the US, Canada, and Mexico here. I'm in the coincidentally named city of Center, North Dakota. So why do I say coincidentally? The answer is down here. At the end of the path is a giant rock, and a sign marking the scientifically determined center of North America. The entire continent. Here's an interesting story. In 1930, an employee with the U.S. Geological Survey took a cardboard cutout of North America and balanced it on top of a pin. It balanced the best near the city of Rugby. But in 2017, Dr. Peter Rogerson, a geographer from the University of Buffalo, used a series of calculations to determine the actual center of the continent is in the city of Center, North Dakota. That's the coincidental part, since the city of Center was named for being the center of this county, Oliver County. Dr. Rogerson's findings are not official, so you won't see any pins from USGS at this site. I went to Rugby a long time ago, which is about 150 miles northeast of here. So where is the actual center of the continent? But wait, the story gets more interesting. In 2015, Hanson's Bar in Robinson, North Dakota, filed a trademark stating that the bar is where the actual center of the continent is. Their reasoning is based on what they call barstool science, and melting of Arctic sea ice has pushed the entire continent south, so the bar ended up being the new center point. Now I'm back in the parking area where the flags from the other countries in North America are flying. One more wrinkle in this whole center of the continent business. Dr. Rogerson's measurements didn't include the Caribbean islands, so the true center of North America is still a mystery. But this is an interesting stop, and it definitely brings the curious roadside attraction travelers to areas in North America that they probably wouldn't go to otherwise. Heading east, and I will say the roads around here have not been cleared, so I had to be very careful driving here. I'm now in the city of Washburn, and that's the Missouri River behind this ferry boat. This is the last stern-wheel ferry in existence on the Missouri River. Since it's snowy and icy, I won't walk around the boat, but I will tell you a little about it. This ferry was built by Oscar Anderson in 1951, and he operated this ferry until 1962. The ferry could carry up to 3 cars across the Missouri River between Washburn and the city of Hensler. It did really good business for its first 3 years, but then the Highway 200 bridge was built, removing the need for the ferry service. The ferry was restored in 1976 by the city of Washburn, possibly as a symbol of pride during this country's bicentennial. The ferry now sits on dry land next to the river, and a permanent ramp leads to the boat. Here's a better side view of the ferry. The boat is now part of the city's Riverside Park. The ferry not only transported cars across the Missouri, it also carried horses, passengers, and other goods, so it really was a lifeline for people living in Washburn and Hensler. Now just a couple miles away, still in the city of Washburn, but near Fort Mandan, and you can see how wide the Missouri River is. It definitely made sense a few decades ago to have ferry service in this remote area of North Dakota. This is also along the Lewis and Clark's Scenic Historic Trail, which follows their expedition from near St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean, where Oregon and Washington meet. I didn't realize that expedition went through North Dakota. To commemorate that, there's a large statue of Seaman, the large dog that accompanied Lewis and Clark. Seaman the dog was Lewis and Clark's trusty companion who was a fantastic hunter. He would often hunt for squirrel, but he did retrieve the occasional goose, deer, and antelope. Seaman was kidnapped by Indian tribes on their return trip, but 3 men managed to rescue him. Seaman also went on patrol nightly to warn Lewis and Clark's expedition team of bears and scare-away buffaloes. Seaman's breed was Newfoundland, which are very large dogs originally bred in the Canadian province of Newfoundland. They have webbed paws and water-resistant fur, making them great for swimming, fishing, and even water rescuing. Seaman was very loyal to Meriwether Lewis. Both will frequently sit together, and it was said Meriwether Lewis was happiest when sitting with his dog. Seaman probably felt the same way. In 1809, during his then capacity as governor of the Louisiana Territory, Lewis was shot and killed. Seaman refused to leave his side. Historians say Seaman died at Lewis's gravesite after refusing to eat since Lewis's death. My next stop is at Turtle Lake, North Dakota. According to the sign, it says the city was established in 1905. The population of this town, just about 540 people as of the last census. There's a digital sign, and it's wishing 2 residents a happy birthday. It now says the current temperature is just 18 degrees, so it's getting colder and snowing. Anyway, happy birthday to Barb K and Ricky A. Hope your birthday is really fantastic. Also, happy birthday to Tracy N and Darlene S. Wow, 4 birthdays today. That's pretty amazing. 4 people in a city with a population of 500 or so have a birthday on the same day. Anyway, I'm at a very small city park right now next to the main thoroughfare, and there's a very large turtle, perfect for the town of Turtle Lake. His name is Rusty, and he was placed here in 1995. Rusty is meant to honor Harold Hansen, who is a beloved community leader here. Hansen passed away in late 1993, and this turtle was installed about 18 months later, which also coincided with the 90th anniversary of Turtle Lake. This turtle is 20 feet long and weighs 4,000 pounds. Apparently large turtles are a thing in this part of the world. A couple hours north of here, near the Canadian border, is another large turtle constructed with steel tire wheels. I saw that many years ago when I was a child. Each year, Turtle Lake holds a weekend-long festival called Turtle Lake Days, and part of the celebration includes a turtle race to determine the U.S. and World Champion turtle. Other fun events of Turtle Days include a turtle trot, a parade, dunk tank, an egg toss, a soapbox derby, even a rubber ducky race. Sounds like a great small town festival weekend. Alright, it's getting dark and I have one more stop. My final stop of the day takes me to McClusky, and as the sign says, it's the geographic center of the state of North Dakota. And there's a good amount of snow on the ground here, and the sun is set, so I'll make my stay very brief. This is actually the closest town to the geographic center. The actual center is about 5 miles southwest of here, but it's on private property. The population of this town is just 326 people, and this park, which is appropriately named Heart Park, they've constructed this heart, which is made from 2 steel beams. This is a popular place for locals to get married. It looks like they've strung lights along the heart, so I guess they light it up when it gets completely dark. In this city, they have an RV park and also a large lake, which they say is a good fishing spot. The water tower also says McClusky is the heart of North Dakota, and the text is surrounded by a red heart, but I didn't notice it when I was here. I just had this heart monument on the list, and I'm lucky I had just enough twilight to see this. But now I have to head about 90 minutes south, hopefully to escape all the snow that's on the way. So what state centers have I now seen?
Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, California, and now North Dakota. I see the center of the United States and the scientifically determined center of the continent of North America. I'm surprised I got as much done today as I did and avoided the heavy snow. The highlights were probably the Enchanted Highway and the iconic Salem Sue. I was going to stay in Minot, but instead I'm staying in Bismarck. And I've modified my schedule for tomorrow since I'm further south now. I'll be traveling from Bismarck to Fargo tomorrow, but you'll see that next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!